So, very good afternoon, my dear students. I welcome you all in Industrial Pharmacy first. So, dear student, daily we are running this introductory video. So, actually, this video that is related with pharma only. How the production, how the manufacturing that will be carried out in case of an industry, in case of pharmaceutical plants that will going to be shown in this video. So you can see that the video that is involved, the video that shows you the manufacturing of tablets, capsules, elixirs, suspensions, liquid orals. Yes, liquid orals, isn't it? You can see today we have to deal with the liquid orals. So that means these are such a kind of dosage form which will be having their physical nature in the form of a liquid. These are not solid, these are not semi-solid, but these are the liquid one, and these are to be taken by the oral route. So what are the different examples of the liquid dosage forms that we generally used to take by oral route? Yes, can you please tell me? Yes, go ahead. What it is? Right, it is the solution, it is the suspension, it is the emulsion, it is the elixir, it is the drops, isn't it? Syrups, cough syrups. Yes. There are so many number of examples of these liquid formulations. And today onward, we will going to deal with all these liquid oral kinds of the dosage forms. We will go through the various aspects related with all these liquid orals. Let us say, for example, what these liquid orals are, what are the individual examples, what are their details, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, how to go for manufacturing, and how to go for evaluating all these liquid oral formulations. So, without discussing much more general topic as far as the liquid oral is concerned, we will specifically go to our requirement. Now, what we will going to study? We will going to study the different types of liquid orals, the solution, what are the types of solutions, the solubility, methods of enhancement of the solubility, the stability of the solutions. Further, we will go through the syrups, the different components of the syrups, how these syrups are going to be prepared and packed, what are the different methods associated with that. Then we will go through the elixirs, the different components of the elixirs, the method of preparation and packaging associated with that of the elixirs. So we will going to discuss about the solutions, solubilities, syrups, elixirs, and we will see what is the difference between the syrups, elixirs, and these solutions. Now, as far as our discussion and lesson plan is concerned, we will go through the introduction related with the liquid orals. Then we will see the classification of the liquid orals, the definition, the solution, their merits, demerits, that is advantages, disadvantages, their types, the methods to enhance the solubility, methods of preparation of solution, stability of solution, the syrups, elixirs, their components and their method of preparation along with the packaging and storage. So this will be the lesson plan, or this will be the topic that we will going to cover here on. Let us come to the introduction to the liquid orals. Yes, very correct. What the examples you told at the beginning in the introduction, all these examples are getting covered here. You can see the liquid oral that will gives you the syrup kind of dosage form, the suspensions, emulsions, elixirs, and the syrups. So what these are liquid orals, these are the pharmaceutical dosage forms, right? What is their nature? They are in liquid form and that is to be administered by oral route. So that's why these are liquid which are to be taken by oral route. Therefore, all these are the liquid orals. Now, if you want to classify the liquid orals, there are two different ways, two different types by which we can go for classifying based on the phases of the liquids. When there is a presence of single phase, these types of liquid dosage forms are said to be the monophasic liquids. And when there is a two different phases, let us say for example liquid phase and the powder phase, or say the liquid phase, or say liquid solid phase, isn't it? When it is liquid, there is emulsion. When there is a liquid solid or liquid powder, that is the suspension. So these two are the basic classifications associated with the liquid oral. The first is the monophasic liquid and the second one is the biphasic liquid, isn't it? What are the examples of the monophasic? The examples of monophasic are solutions, elixirs, syrups, liquid drops, etc. What about the examples of the biphasic? Absolutely right. It is the suspension and emulsion. Now, what the syrups are? Most of us, we might have taken these syrups whenever we will be having the cough. At that time, we used to take the cough syrups, isn't it? Whenever there is any kind of congestions into the chest, we used to go for the cough syrups, right? You can see the best example, the marketed brand, that is the Chestal, isn't it? Chestal syrup. So what these syrups are? The syrups, these are the solutions. What the syrups are? Syrups are the solutions. Solutions of what? Solutions of sugar. You need to understand, you need to concentrate here that the sugar that is present in 85% concentration. So if there is a presence of sugar in water that is in 85%, then such kind of solutions of sugar are properly called as syrup. So syrups are the saturated solutions of 85% sugar in water in which medicinal substances, these are drugs that are dissolved. So this is the syrup, this is the aqueous. The water will contain the sugar that is in the saturated form, that is up to 85% concentration, and this may or may not contain the drug substance. Elixir. The elixir is what? Again, elixir, it is a kind of liquid dosage form. The elixirs, these are the clear, flavored oral liquids containing one or more active ingredient dissolved in a vehicle that usually contains a high proportion of sucrose or a suitable polyhedric alcohol or alcohols, and may also contain ethanol 95% or a dilute ethanol, isn't it? See, this is the definition. What it will contain or what it is? It is clear. It is flavored oral liquid that will contain one or more active ingredient, and these are what? These are dissolved. These are dissolved in what? These are dissolved into the suitable vehicle. Now the vehicle is what? The vehicle is the sucrose or it may be polyhydric alcohol, or it may be alcohol, or it may be 95% ethanol, right? Or it is the dilute ethanol. So these are differently flavored. We will contain the more than one ingredient, and these are the preparations that will highly contain the sucrose. So what is the basic difference between the elixirs and the syrup? Yes, the syrups, these are purely watery liquid, and they will contain the sugar that is in the saturated dissolved state, that is the 85%. Whereas the elixir, they will contain the aqueous, non-aqueous vehicles. Suspensions, isn't it? The malodans, these are the liquids. What the suspensions are? These are the liquids only, that is liquid dosage forms only, containing one or more active ingredients suspended. In case of suspensions, the ingredients, these are in the suspended state in a suitable vehicle. The suspended solids may slowly separate on keeping but easily redistributed or redisposed. This is just most of the time generally observed, isn't it? Whenever we used to keep it aside for a day or for a few hours, you are going to see that there is a thick layer that is going to be accumulated at the bottom, and at the top you are going to find the supernatant liquid. So whenever we have to give the next dosing, what we need to do, we have to take the bottle and we have to shake it. So that's why always it has been written onto the suspension dosage form, shake well before use. Whenever you want to take, at that time you have to shake it. Now this shaking will causes what? That shaking will causes the uniform and even distribution of the settled particles. Emulsion. Again, the same case related with that of the suspension. Here also there is a need to go for shaking. So always the emulsion, they should contain the shake well before use. Now what the emulsions are? These are liquid preparations, right? The liquids containing one or more active ingredients and are stabilized oil in water or water in oil dispersions, either or both phases of which may contain dissolved solids. So generally emulsions are what? These are the biphasic dosage form. What are the two different phases? The both phases are of liquid type, right? So these phases, they will contain the drug that is dissolved either into the suspended state or into the continuous phase. The continuous phase is the phase in which the other phase, other liquid phase, that is going to be distributed. Now this other liquid phase is what? If the continuous phase is water, the distributed phase is oil. If the distributed phase is oil, the continuous phase is water. Or if the continuous phase is oil, the distributed phase is water, in the vice versa condition. So either that oil will contain medicinal component or the aqueous phase will contain, or sometimes both they will contain the distributed active pharmaceutical ingredient based on its partition coefficient, based on its dissolution, based on its solubility into the both the phases. You can see here there is a clear demarcation line which will clearly indicate that there is a oil phase, there is a water, and these two phases are brought with each other, are held with each other with the help of a third phase, which is said to be third substance, which is said to be an emulsifying agent. It is also called as emulsifier, isn't it? Which will makes the emulsion stable. There is a water which is in the distributed phase and oil in the continuous phase. Here the oil is in distributed phase, water is in continuous phase, right? So once it will going to be shaken well, at that time you will going to see that the oil droplet, these are going to be distributed. Here you can see that the water droplet, these are going to be distributed. Classification of the solutions. Now we can go for classifying the solutions. So what we saw the solutions, we saw the elixirs, we saw the suspensions, we saw the emulsions, we saw the elixirs, we saw the syrups. Now classification of these emulsions, that is based on the purpose it is to be used. Now, where it is going to be used, again based on that, these solutions, these are going to be classified. Let us say, for example, if these are to be taken by oral route. So what we had studied just now, isn't it? Because our topic is the liquid oral. So these are such a liquid dosage form, such as solutions, which will be taken by the oral route. So all these examples, like say syrup, elixir, spirit, linctuses, drops, all these are the oral liquids. Next, mouth and the throat. So based on its use, based on the purpose it is to be used. So the first purpose is oral. Second purpose is in case of the oral cavity, that is say in case of mouth or in case of the throat. So what are the different solutions that are used? These are the mouthwashes, gargles, throat paints and throat sprays. You can see the example: biotin, dry mouth, oral rinse. Then there is a candid, clotrimazole, mouth foam, mouth paint, and there is a betadine, gargles. There are liquids, there are solutions which are going to be used onto the body surfaces for rubbing, for giving specific effect. Let's say, for example, collodion, that is to rub onto the skin. Cryolan, that is the collodion. Lotions, the best and the well known, that is the Vaseline, essential healing. And the liniments. Liniment, again, these are going to be rubbed onto the skin surface. So the example is the Mustela liniment. There are solutions which are going to be used into the body cavities, right? So let us say, for example, the different body cavities. In case of females, there is a vagina, and in order to clean that one, there is a solution which is said to be the douches. These are commonly called as douches, equate feminine douche. So that will gives the, that is useful in order to clean the vaginal cavities, which will contain the vinegar along with the water. The second example of the solution, that is the enemas. Enemas, these are going to be introduced into the body cavity. Which body cavity? Rectum, right? So there is an example of the fleet enema, that is the saline. And this is particularly used in case of the constipation conditions. Whenever there is a difficulty in case of the defecation, at that time the enemas are going to be introduced, so that will clears the bowels. Next is the ear drops. These are to be introduced into the cavity associated with the ears. The candid ear drop, clotrimazole plus lignocaine. The clotrimazole, that will give the antibacterial effect, lignocaine, that will give the analgesic, sorry, that is the anesthetic effect, local anesthetic effect. Then the nasal spray, that is the nasal chrome in case of the nasal congestion, in order to treat the nasal infections. The nasal sprays, these are going to be used, and these are the examples of the solution kinds of dosage forms which are to be introduced into the body cavities. So let us see the example and the definition. So in case of pharmaceutical terms, the solutions, these are defined as liquid preparations that will contain one or more chemical substances dissolved in a suitable solvent or mixture of mutually miscible solvents. So what solutions are? These are the liquid preparations. What they will contain? They will contain either one or more chemical substance. What it is? It is the API most of the time. in a suitable solvent. Sometimes there is a single solvent, or sometimes there is a mixture of a solvent, like say water, or sometimes say water and alcohol, right? Of mutually miscible solvent. The necessity is that these should miscible with each other. These should mix with each other. Now, why these are going to be studied? These are going to be studied because of their several advantages over on to that of the other dosage form. Let us say, for example, the solid dosage form. Now, what are the advantages of these? These are having the quick onset of action. When we used to take the tablet, it requires at least half an hour in order to get disintegrate, dissolve, absorb, and to show the action. But solutions, as these are already into the dissolved state, into the homogeneous state, so they will get quickly absorbed and will give the quick relief. That's why in case of most of the children's, these solutions are going to be advised in order to give the quick relief to that of the children's. The solutions, these are homogeneous and they will contain the uniformity of the dose distribution, right? Because in case of tablet, sometimes the tablet may contain less or more drug substance, but the solution, they will contain the equal amount. So there is a homogeneous distribution of the drug substance. These can be given by any route, isn't it? These can be taken by oral route, by parenteral route, or by topical route, isn't it? These are associated with the flexible dosing. We can just go for taking 1 ml, 2 ml, 3 ml, 5 ml, 10 ml based on requirement, based on necessity. So there is a flexibility as far as the dosing is concerned. They will reduce the effect in case of the GI tract. Let's say, for example, the irritant effect, because the solid dosage forms, they will contain additional additives, and these may be responsible for producing their effect into that of the GI tract. But as solutions, these are the homogeneous liquid one. So these are not showing any kinds of the adverse effect in case of gastrointestinal tract. The diluted irritant actions of some drugs, like say aspirin, potassium iodide, and the potassium bromide. So these are highly irritant one, and their action that can be reduced, that can be diluted, that can be made mild with the help of the solution dosage form. These are easy to swallow, isn't it? Just like water. Even the patient who will be having difficulty in swallowing, that is dysphagia condition, these cannot take the tablet or capsule dosage form. So in that case, the solution that is preferable one, and that is giving the convenience to the patient, so that will improve the compliance. Although these are associated with the advantages, but we cannot neglect the disadvantages also. So these are bulk preparations, right? We can carry the 10 tablet just in a single strip, but in order to carry a 50 ml of solution, we need to carry a bottle. So again, the weight that will get increased, volume that will get increased. So that's why these are the bulky preparations. Unpleasant tests are odors that are difficult to mask, right? We can give the flavoring agent, we can add the sugars or the sweetening agents in case of the tablet dosage forms, but every time that may not be possible in case of liquid dosage form. So the test that cannot be masked. Accuracy in dose measurement is needed. 5 ml, isn't it? The 5 ml is needed to be given. The physician used to prescribe, give 5 ml for 3 times in a day or 2 times in a day, isn't it? There is a measuring device, measuring cup, which is provided along with the liquid bottles. But the patient or the parents, they may do mistake. If it is required to be given 5 ml, sometime it is less than that, sometimes it is more than that, which will leads to the under medication and over medication. So that will ultimately affect onto the plasma drug concentration. Either it is below minimum effective concentration, so which will not produce the effect, and sometimes if it is more, that is volume is more, then in that case it will process the maximum safe concentration. So it may responsible for producing the toxic effects. The less stable than the solid dosage form, because there is a liquid, there is a water, isn't it? So that's why it is less stable. Whenever there is a liquid dosage form, these are generally less stable because these are moist, because these are containing water. So their stability that is less compared to that of the solid dosage form, which are in the dry condition. Some drug poorly soluble and therefore these are difficult to formulate. Let's say, for example, the drug that is having the nature, like say the uh, practically insoluble or insoluble or slightly soluble or very slightly soluble. So in such a case, it is very difficult to go with the preparation of the liquid dosage form. So the better option is to have the solid dosage form. So as per the type of vehicle, the solutions, these are going to be classified as aqueous solutions and the non-aqueous solutions. Aqueous solutions, these are the homogeneous preparations that are prepared by dissolving a solid, liquid or gas in an aqueous medium. What are the aqueous solution? Aqueous solution, they will contain the aqueous medium in which what is dissolved, either solution, liquid or solid or gas that is going to be dissolved. So the examples of the aqueous vehicles that are used are the waters, aromatic waters and the extracts. You can see the aromatic water and there is a lemon extract, peppermint, lemon, isn't it? Rose water. Non-aqueous vehicles. Now the non-aqueous vehicle, they will contain either alcoholic or hydroalcoholic. The alcoholic or hydroalcoholic, these are the solutions and the examples are the elixirs and the spirits. They will contain the alcohol. Collodion, the collodion that will contain the non-aqueous vehicle, which is said to be the ethereal solutions. Glycerin solutions, these are said to be the glycerides. Oleaginous solutions, the examples are the liniments, medicated oils, oleovitamins, sprays, and toothache drops. Now, solubility. Now, what the solubility is, just to recall the things where we had studied the solubility, where we had studied? Yes, we had studied while studying the pre-formulation. Exactly. The number of parts of solvent that will dissolve one part of solute. That is said to be the solubility. The amount of solute that passes into solution per ml, the solute and the solvent of same polarity that will get dissolved good. Now, in order to express the solubility, we had gone through the standard definitions of solubility, which is given by the United States of Pharmacopoeia. So what and how it will explain? It will explain the parts of solvent required for dissolving the one part of the solute, isn't it? Let's say, for example, if the drug that is getting freely soluble or say very soluble. What is the meaning of that? Very soluble. It means what? In order to dissolve the one part of a solute, we require less than one part of the solvent. It means what? Let's say, for example, in order to dissolve the 1 gram of a drug substance solid, we require either 1 ml or even less than that of the 1 ml of the solvent. That is said to be the freely soluble solvent.